Welcome to the last half hour of the KWN Today program, 9:37, 23 away from the hour. Newsmaker segment, every Thursday we talk county government, and today is no exception. Dade County Executive Ted Rumley in the studio with us here on KWN. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Morning. Doing good, Evan. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Doing good.
Good.
Just a lot of things. The 30 days has September. Well, this is the 30th day, so got October coming up. A lot of things are going on, and I know that you've been talking about trying to finish up some very important paving projects here in the county, and just got word. Do you know who's going to be doing it?
Well, on the two major roads,
Right.
we've got some roads that we're doing ourselves. That we can do, but the bigger jobs, we just don't have enough help. Right now, and we have hired two people, and we've got another one or so that looks pretty good. We're going to meet with them next week, and so we're glad of that. But we did open bids yesterday at noon on the Burkhalter and Hills Gap, and the Tally Construction did get that out of Chattanooga. There was 3 bids on it: C.W. Matthews and Northwest Georgia Paving, which were the people that actually paving the 136 and also out on the mountain there, Lookout Mountain. And so Tally was quite a bit lower. So I feel the commission will award that possibly to him, to that company during the commission meeting. As you have to go through the process, but they are the low bid on it. So.
When do you expect them to be able to?
Second week in October is what they told us.
Okay, so next Thursday,
that's what they're
will be the commission meeting. They'll vote, and then the following week they'll start then. And then Burkhalter first, and then.
Well, that's up to them. It's up
Okay.
to them. It's up to Burkhalter is going to be really a lengthy job, and it's if they want to go and knock Burkhalter would be the short job, and if they want to go ahead and knock that out, that's fine. And then do Hales Gap, but we'll just leave it up to them. As long as they get on it and stay on it till they get it done, that's what counts,
What do you? In looking at the two roads, both of them definitely got problems. Which one do you feel like needs it the quickest?
Well, if it was me, I'd go ahead and probably do Burkhalter Gap, because it's you get everything running and get because it's a straight shot. It's up the mountain. There's no and just get that behind me. If I were doing it,
Right.
Traffic-wise, though, and as far as the really bad places, Hell's Gap, that's one reason it's going to take longer. There's a lot needs to be done. They're going to be doing a lot of binder, a lot of build-up in that road before you even pave it.
Well, over the years, and you know this. The road itself is supposed to be built where the water runs off to both sides, where it doesn't stand.
You crown
and
it.
The erosion over the years with the sides of Hales Gap, eroding off on
Mm-hmm.
different sides and stuff. Will they have to go through and kind of reclaim some of that?
No, not really, because what the base is what when you get a dip in the road, usually the base is actually dropped on it, and those places have been dug out over the years and actually built back up, and then in this right here, when they go back in with this binder and actually top paving, as much traffic that's on that, especially truck traffic, dump trucks and all, it's been going cement trucks. You'll have a good job. It's got a good base under. There's 2 or 3 places there, that they're going to probably have to spend a little more time on. But as far as redoing or any of that won't be. And if it was a 3 or 4 year old road or a 10-year-old road, that'd be different. But Hales Gap's been there for a long time, So, but they all 3 companies are reputable companies. Whichever company had gotten it, we'd been satisfied with, because they all agreed that they would start mid-October, and that was part of it. And I think that may be why we didn't get a lot more bids, because a lot of people are either real busy or a lot of them don't have the help to really take on a project, that long and that, So
How many weeks do you think Hales Gap and Burkhalter will take?
It'd probably be middle of November before they get
about
finished.
A month.
Yeah, and that's with good weather, Yeah, I'd say somewhere in there, yeah. And on 136 though, I did get to talk with the man that's over that out of Calhoun, and no, they're not finished with it, but what they've got to put down now is the actual coating, that non-skid coating, on the mountain coming down, and it's got sand and different stuff in it, for winter. That's part of their bid, and I know that they're preparing to do that. I don't know when. He didn't really give me a date of when they were going to do it, but I'm sure it'll be real soon before cold weather, because if your pavement gets cold, there's only certain things that you can do. I mean, if it gets too cold, it won't bond, and so they'll be doing it real soon while it heats up. I'd say. Yeah. And
so we still got more construction going on. I know on Highway 189.
Oh yeah.
On Lookout Mountain, that's a long road from New Salem to the I guess the Georgia state line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not, I mean, because it goes past Dade County, and there's a little bit of Walker County there on 189 as it goes into the city of Lookout Mountain.
Well, you really go into Walker, and then we come back in up about 500 or 600, maybe 400 yards there. People don't realize, but we got a Dade County road. Once you go past Covenant College, you just keep going, and you go past where you turn right to go back into the Lookout. You go up that hill there.
That's
about 100
Dade
yards,
County
and there's a Dade County. Yeah, there's a Dade County on the left. There's a road actually we have to maintain there on the left there. And you think you're in Tennessee, but it's not. But it's about 4 houses on there, I think. Yeah.
What they call it, Plum out of Tennessee, nearly out of Georgia.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's in New Salem, but up there you could do the same thing, because it really looks like you're in Tennessee or the town of Lookout Mountain. Georgia, anyway. But
absolutely. Well, and I'm sure they'll do the same thing there. It's a state road, but all of those curves around the Covenant College, you're very well, and everybody that lives out there knows weather, and that road, especially around Covenant College, quite a bit of. That's one of the first places that freezes.
That ice, sure that's right. That's the highest point.
Some of that
that's right, the highest point right there, and you'll have ice there and frigid, freezing rain before anywhere in Dade County. Usually, right in there, and that's usually one of the first spots that with Burkhalter, and we have 5 or 6 spots that we hit, between Burkhalter, or the Lookout Mountain roads and Sand Mountain, and that's usually our first place is the salt, and then we'll cover the rest of it, but that right in there in Covenant College, it's really it'll freeze there when you least expect it, really.
We're talking about freezing, but tomorrow's October, and less than 2.5 months away from Christmas, and winter's. We just started fall, but winter's just around the corner.
It is, and then I don't. That's something else at this time of the year, from especially right around October all the way through the month there, we start preparing, for winter. We make sure that we've got all our salt and all our bins full and all that. You never know, how bad a winter we'll have. No one knows, but we were kind of lucky last year, and even the winter before. Excuse me, as far as having a lot of really messy weather, freezing and all that. So, we're due for a pretty rough winter, and we may have it. I suppose supposedly,
these couple of new roads, all of these new roads, Lookout Mountain, Highway 189 is going to have that new surface. 136 going up and down. Sand Mountain is going to have that new surface. Hales Gap hopefully will be paved with that new surface, that slick or the extra traction surface, and Burkhalter. So really the 4 main roads, 2 of them being state, 2 of them being county, that have the most problems, are all going to be newly paved,
newly striped, and we'll have the actual reflectors. And also we do have a company. They're supposed to start it this past week, and it'll be this week when they start. But we have a number of roads in the county that we're striping and actually doing the white line, yellow lines on. That's through a grant that we actually it was not necessarily a grant, but it was. And call it what you want, but Billy and I, we attend our quarterly meetings that we have through GDOT, and the one before last, we were there, and they actually had some money left over through some of the safety grants that was issued through the federal government back a year or so ago, and we were there. Of course, a lot of people do not go; they take it for granted, and they just don't show up for whatever reason, but. The ones that were there, we received almost $200,000, for striping and safety and guardrails and all that was split between the counties that were actually at that meeting, and we actually signed the form and everything. And so we're just now receiving that money, but that's to help us. That's to pay for the striping and stuff on some of these roads that we have safety with. Even though some of them may be even paved like next spring or the spring after, they're short roads, but these are roads that, regardless, the school buses, we've had complaints on for safety reasons, and they need it. And most of them are on the mountain. Most of them are in fog-prone areas,
Right.
And
we've had a bunch of foggy mornings. Explain just a little bit, because some folks may not know, and there's probably several people that may have known in the past or may have forgotten, but there is a number of roads that you cannot stripe because of state law.
Because of the width.
Wide enough.
The width, yeah. There is a law there that safety. If the road's too narrow, you can't put a stripe down the center of it because you're actually dictating which lane that person should be in if they had a wreck, and it's not even wide enough to be. It's only wide enough to be a little bit over a one-lane road, really. And we do have a few of them in the county, so you can't obligate the county. You can't.
So even though that you would think every road needed to be striped, there is some
you can't do. No.
Cannot be because of the width of the county road.
No, because it's and where we come up with that is years and years ago when we were under the sole commissioner, and it was not against the law to do this, but a lot of roads, were taken as county roads, and they really, are not much narrower, much wider than a driveway. But once those things were certified, once they were taken over, they're county roads. Once they were paved, and a lot of the roads that we're talking about, or they would have already been widened, you only have prescriptive right of way, because that means ditch line to ditch line. You barely have enough room to ditch it, to take care of it, and to actually maintain the ditches, but fortunately most of those roads are not populated. There's not a lot of housing, on it. On those roads, but
the one that comes to my mind is the most is Mount Olive, because it is traffic.
It is.
There's a lot of traffic.
The only right of way we have on Mount Olive right there, except right up there where you Y off and come into the main road, 189, is ditch line to ditch line. That's why there's never been, and the only way that could ever be widened would either be to purchase right of way or to go in and do eminent domain, which we've never done before, but that's why that road is not.
Or you would have to. I guess it would be a process of going property owner to property owner, asking for 5 more feet for safety reasons, which they may all be okay with, but you'd still have to do it. It'd take a while.
Yeah. Well, we were, I think it's been about 15 years ago. We actually was looking at that because that's a heavily traveled road now. There's more people.
Yeah, that's the one that
I
think of as probably the most traveled, but yet it is a rural type of road that you took.
But we did. That was when Alan, of course, was. Might have been his first year in office. Anyway, we did go through there. He did, and most of the people there didn't want to, wouldn't even talk to you about it.
Really.
As far as just giving it to the county to widen it. And they just didn't want to get rid of, didn't want to or 5 or 10 foot. I think we were asking for like 8 foot on each side, 16 foot, more, and then shoulder. That way we could build the shoulders, move the ditches out, and it was going to be a really an issue there to do that, and so it was kind of dropped, But it's getting more and more traffic on it. More people go to Fort Oglethorpe to shop. We're going to have hospital over there, one day soon, next year or two. We're going to have more. So, there's more and more people will travel Mount Olive and go off that Nickajack area way over there. So, but it's not something in our plan, in our future. It's.
Well, the only reason I brought it up because I knew that was one of the more heavily roads that couldn't be striped that I know of in the county, and it's probably the most traveled that can't be. As far as because of the width of when it was taken over and that type of thing. And I knew that there were some folks that either they knew it and forgot it, or maybe there's some new folks that don't understand that you have to have a certain width of a road before you can actually stripe it and put those safety things in.
Yeah, and that's the same thing on a lot of people. Several people over the years have called about speed humps, and if you look through Georgia, you don't see a whole lot of speed humps. You might see them in private subdivisions or in some of the metro like cities, but like There's none I know of in the city of Trenton, unless it's on school property or whatever. But they had some issues several years ago when a lot of the counties had put these out in county roads, and some of the newer cars, I mean, they actually had some lawsuits over it. They caused a wreck or two, and there was a class action, I think, a few years ago, and so that's why you don't see a lot of those out in the county. We've got a couple of roads that I think we could use them on, but fortunately, we've got the sheriff's department. They take care of speeders. We actually have put up some speeding signs, lowered the speed limit anyway, and we want to play it by ear and see how that works. But if it does not, and one of the roads I'm talking about, I'll tell you, is a road that goes through by the water authority over there where our water plant's at. There's a little shortcut. What goes right by where you live? That road right there that comes in, and is that Jackson?
Gulch.
Gulch Road.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take that shortcut to get over to Piney Road in the evenings, and they don't slow down. They go through, and they go right through there, but where those the storage buildings are at, and it's we've had some close calls over there, and so that would be one of the roads that probably might eventually in the future get the DOT approved, pay tents. But we try not to go there if we can keep from it, because there has been some lawsuits and people have won, so we're playing that by ear, kind of monitoring to see,
Speaking of the sheriff's department, you just mentioned there, good news for emergency first responders and all, as the governor announced this week that out of the president's COVID money, that he was going to be giving every law enforcement officer, city police officer, county deputy, 911 dispatcher, paid firemen, all with EMTs and paramedics in the state of Georgia, all be getting $1,000, and also volunteer firemen will be getting $300 if they're an active volunteer.
If they're actually certified,
active volunteer firemen. So that was some good news for because that affects folks here that work here in Dade County.
Yeah, that's it's statewide. It's a tremendous amount of money that he's actually put on the table there. And I mean, he's got a lot of people. He's got the sheriff will be one that will get and
all the sheriff's deputies
and the sheriff himself. Plus, you got the bailiffs. The court bailiffs. They're mentioned in there. There's a lot of, and we got a fine line update on that yesterday of actually the procedure. Still don't have an application. That may not be available till mid or end of October, but as far as what we need to do.
Yeah, they said it would be rolled out over the next 90 days before the end of the year.
Yeah,
is the information.
But he's doing that out of the federal money that the state got.
Right,
this,
out of the CARES Act money.
The CARES Act
is what it's called.
Yeah,
to be able to, I guess similar to what Catoosa County's doing they're paying their employees an extra bonus if they go get a vaccine.
That's right, $500, I think.
Yeah,
it is.
and then they're giving them 40 hours of pay on top of that if they go get vaccinated.
Yeah.
But that was good news, and I know that the volunteer fire department, the departments here, it's good that he included them. It's not $1,000, but it's $300 for those that are active, and we've got several here in the seven fire departments within the county. So that's good. I mean, I think the whole thing is they work. They never stop answering calls and never stopped working for the complete pandemic. And he had already gave all last year gave all the school teachers.
That's right.
$1,000 because they worked through the pandemic too. So I guess this is just to follow up on that. Wanted to ask you, qualifying in yesterday, we've got a race. You talked about the late Alan Bradford. Still hard to say that, really.
It is.
To remember Alan, but he had just won a 4-year term.
That's right.
And I know that y'all appointed Melissa, his daughter, but the law says, because there was basically 4 years, 3.5 years left, that the next election cycle coming up, that you'd have a special election.
That's right.
Well, the next election cycle was the city election. That's why it's going to coincide here in November. We got two folks, Melissa being one of them, and a lady from Lookout Mountain, Belladonna, is going to be on the ballot. So that's going to be coming up in November.
Yep, that's right. And the Belladonna, she actually came down last week. No, let's see, it was yeah. I get my days mixed up. It was Monday, and we had about. She asked me to answer some questions, and she had had a really good conversation. She was in there about 2 hours and 15 minutes. We had a long conversation, a lot of questions that she had asked, and we answered them. And she's very educated person, and so we'll just see how it turns out. And of course, Melissa, I've known her since she was just a child, and she's good. So we got a couple of good candidates. Thank goodness,
That'll be coming up the first week in November. It shouldn't be confusing, but I think some people are starting to confuse the fact there's a city election going on that day, and there's also a county election going on that day.
That's true.
So if you live in the city and you're registered to vote in the city and the county, you can vote on both. If you're registered in the county, of course, you'll just have that one race.
That's during early voting.
Yes.
Yeah. And then from what I understand now, I need to talk to Luana about this because we talked a bit. But now the county voting, I'm not sure whether they'll actually have the precincts open.
They're on election day.
It should be.
All
yeah.
7 of them will be open
on
election day.
Because this is kind of an odd. This is an odd something that don't happen every year.
Well, and it's a good thing.
It's a good thing because it could be confusing. But yeah, so that election day, that one day, you'll be able to go to your local precinct if you don't vote. Now you can come to Trenton here and vote during the early voting.
And there's going to be 2 Saturdays. And I hate to wrap things up. We only got about 45 seconds. I want to give you an opportunity, of course. But there'll be 2 Saturdays. We'll talk. We've got some time. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
How can they get in touch with you, Commissioner?
423-667-8999, just to give me a call, and or any commissioner. As I always say, they do answer their phones, and we're here to try to help you and answer any questions we can. And if you don't want to talk on the phone or just come by the office, I'm usually always there, and we'll try to help you any way we can.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you very much always for coming in and updating us on what's going on in the county. Good news about the paving coming up for Burkhalter and for Hales Gap, that is for sure. We'll see you back tomorrow on Friday's edition of KWN Today.